Hello, I am Phantom Enchantress, or if you want me to explain what that is, literally, I'm a cryptic. I'm a. I'm a mystic cryptic. I'm a cryptid mystic. But most of all, I am a twisted mystic. And besides that, I'm very open-minded, and I've tried to kind of open myself to other possibilities. And I understand that a lot of people, when they have experiences, it's very much an individual experience. And I know that the paranormal community is indeed a community, but I think when it comes down to how you react and how you respond to paranormal encounters is really what matters. I don't think there's anybody that really has a experience that is, exactly alike. I mean, we have a lot of similarities, but what makes it unique is really how we perceive it and how we see it. And we forget that we are all very unique individuals, and the spirit realm is very much like that. And I once asked a spirit, I said, okay, so how many, how many spiritual realms are out there? Like, how many dimensions are out there? Because I am a firm believer in that as well, that there are other dimensions, possibly, that we cannot access at this time, because either of our either our earthly vessels that we have right now. And I hope that one day we will know more about these other realms. But what the spirits told me is that there was an infinite amount of different realms out there. So that really is exciting, especially for paranormal enthusiasts or paranormal investigators, or just people that have a special interest in it. Sometimes people do not really have it. Sometimes people don't have the stamina, and they don't have the nerves. Not the nerves, but the nerves of steel to do paranormal investigating. And you don't need to have nerves of steel necessarily. I mean, I have seen the professionals do it, and they're scared, You don't need that. But there's a certain amount of commitment that is required for that. And, and then there's payment and, having a brand and all of that. So, I haven't gotten to that point yet. Yes, next plan, money! I don't know. If you see any money lying around, and it's $1 million, and it's in an envelope, and it has my name on it, send it to me. Okay? I'm kidding. I always ask that. I have heard people. There was this one guy that was in his house. Okay, kid you not. And he was in his house, and he heard something in downstairs in the living room, and it turned out it was a burglar. And he says, "Oh," and he's like, What are you after, dude? Like what's going on? What?" He says, "Well, I'm looking for money." And the guy started helping him look for it. The guy started helping him look for it. He was like, "Yeah, I want to know where the money is too." And he starts looking for it. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna help you. And guess what? If whatever we find, we split. Be nice if we lived in a world like that, wouldn't it? It would be nice. Now I have to actually get my... Where are my shorts? I don't know what's with YouTube, but YouTube seems to not. Like, it should just have right there. Like, right there, it should be Um, as soon as I open the app, it should say, Phantom Enchanters is going live. It should say that. But no, not YouTube. Not today. It just wants to do its own thing. Fantastic. Oh, great. So, you're gonna have to forgive my randomness. I am weird. I am random. It will happen again. I can't prevent it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but that's just the way life is. So, getting down to the nitty-gritty here. When it comes to a lot of harmful myths regarding paranormal encounters, and a lot of these are influenced from trauma. They have influenced from group experiences as well, because group experiences, as you know, it's the crowd mentality. When you're with other people, experiences are amplified because you have more energy in the room. And also energy when you are, whether you're doing a Ouija session or you're just doing paranormal investigating or you're just messing around in a graveyard somewhere, as a urban explorer, which really doesn't count as a paranormal investigating, just saying. But if you're doing that, it's important to know that your experiences could be very much disrupted or ruined because of a person that does not have the right energy. I'm going to say with anything, whether it's an app, whether it's a device that you spent money on, whether it's a Ouija board, whether it's just you by yourself with a REM pod, whatever you're doing, it is all about the energy that you bring. And I know this sounds new agey, but guess what? This is actually an old concept, is that energy really does affect how you perceive an entity, and it also affects how they perceive you. So if they feel that at any time that you're not taking anything seriously, they may see that they can feel your energy. They communicate through energy because they are energy, and they will communicate telepathically through thoughts, sometimes dreams, but emotions especially. I don't know if you've ever been near a haunted vessel that it just has this energy. It will actually emit certain emotions to you. A lot of people take that negatively because they don't know what to do with it. And especially someone who is an empath, who can feel other people's emotions as if they were their own, which is something I have been born with. I just have done that, when someone was, I remember distinctly being a child and just feeling people's pain, especially, and I remember, I was a very wise kind of kid. I knew things that I probably shouldn't have known about adults. And, quick thing about me, I was that weird kid that watched Nightmare Before Christmas a million times, like religiously every day. And I whispered to the moon and talked to the trees and had dance parties with my Barbie dolls. That was me, macabre Barbie. Although I would say I'm not really a Barbie per se. I think I'm a knockoff. I think I'm a Hasbro Barbie that looks like Melanie Martinez. Just saying. I'm not a Barbie at all. Let's just scratch that. Please disregard that. But yeah, energy is key when it comes to any sort of paranormal investigating. It takes patience. If you're not patient, nothing's going to happen, because I'm going to say most of the time you're going to be sitting there scratching your head going, what? That doesn't make any sense. Are you going to say something? Did you hear that? No, I didn't hear that. No, I heard something. Did you see that? No, I didn't see that. Oh, what? Yeah, it's not like in TV. TV makes it very, very, exciting and all that. And most of the time it's just you looking at squiggly lines and comparing notes and doing things. There's some organization skills that's required for that. And that is in consideration, but that's if you're like if you're a pro, you know. So if you're like really professional and you've got something on HBO, or they call it Max now. It's just so weird. Max. It's just like Bob Max. You know, it's just Jeff. You know, it's such a plain name. I don't know why they changed it. Guess it was easier. It was easier for them. I don't know. I don't think that helped with sales, but who knows. Maybe more subscriptions came through. But one of the things that I have noticed with a lot of people is I don't, you know, I've come on Facebook, I've come on many other places, and it just seems to be everybody has this impression: you shouldn't play with spirits, you shouldn't play with Ouija boards, you shouldn't play. And I will have to agree. I will have to say, yes, that is not a wise thing to do. You should never play, per se. Playing, that, when we use the word play, that is literally, you're fiddling around with something that you don't understand. You're fiddling with something that is beyond your comprehension. And doing random things and expecting an organized result to happen is not really possible when it comes to paranormal. If you're just sitting there and you have no idea who you want to talk to, you have no idea who's there, and you go about your business without permission, without consideration of any spirits nearby, because usually there's multiple spirits in one place. And spirits also have what I've learned is they have the ability to actually fuse themselves together to become an even more powerful entity. So if you're wondering why you're getting such a fusion of, you know, this massive wave of energy in a certain spot, it's because they may have combined their efforts. And sometimes they choose to remain together, other times they choose to remain individuals. They don't have genders. I don't think so, but I think they do identify as a gender because it's easier for us. Remember, there's really nothing specifically that says that spirits have an actual physical form, but they can manifest subconsciously, or if we have gifts that can actually see them. I know that there's actual people that can just see them as clear as day, you know, and it's not just a thing. I, on the other hand, can subconsciously see and hear them. Obviously, when I haven't gotten any sleep or that kind of thing, that won't occur. You know, I've had, I guess you could say that I'm a very good receiver when it comes to telepathic messages that come from spirits. I was told a lot of times that, like, I think kids just assume, when they're kids, they just assume that it's just, oh, we're playing pretend. That's my imaginary friend. But let's kind of flip this around. What if kids weren't really talking to an imaginary friend? They were talking to an actual spirit. It could be an angel, it could be a demon, it could be anything. We don't know. But I've noticed a lot of times they don't really bring a lot of harm to the child. I think it's mostly, from what I've seen, it's mostly a fascination. They will try to, like, manhandle them sometimes, and yes, there are some possession cases. And possession cases happen with children mostly because they're very easily manipulated. They're naive, they don't know much about the world, but they also can see them, and that's very refreshing to them. They see them without restriction because there's no trauma, there's no of this other bullshit that we accumulate over time, bad relationships, political views. Oh, I just joined the church, here's another thing, I have bills, the IRS, all of this stuff piles on, and it takes a toll on our mental health. It really does. And eventually we sometimes lose that ability to communicate with spirits, and it's sad, but it's true. And also it's very much discouraged because of certain by certain beliefs. And obviously I have kind of prohibited any heavy or intense religious discussions, but I'm going to say some religious views don't take very kindly of people that can communicate with spirits, okay? It's just, and I grew up with that too. It's like, you know, that's uncharted territory for them. And for somebody who's very conservative in views, that can be offensive. It can be seen as dangerous. It can be, sometimes it can even be treated as a mental illness because they think that there's something wrong with them. But if you have been hearing things or seeing things that you can't explain, and you don't have any history of mental illness, and or you know for a fact that you don't have it, you're not crazy. If you really do see and hear things, or you know things that you can't explain, that's not crazy. That is a gift, and please embrace it. But be safe about it, of course. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt, because any sort of spirit that comes to you can potentially say one thing and then say another. They won't do one thing and say another. They will do what they tell you that they're going to do usually. But they, unless they're like a very deceptive, ill-intended kind of spirit, I like to call them unreasonable spirits. Unreasonable spirits are very dangerous because they do not respect our values and our morals. They don't respect our boundaries, and when someone doesn't respect your boundaries, it's a problem. If anybody disrespects or violates your boundaries, it's a problem, because that is sacred. Your space is sacred. I consider my space to be sacred. So when I go to a place that is a haunted location, I treat that as a sacred space. I think of it when you go into an area that is very populated with spirits. That is their room, okay? That is their home. The same thing with a haunted vessel. That is their place of residency. I recommend not to disrespect it. Because you disrespect them. This is an entity. These are entities that have very high emotional intelligence. Not only that, but they have emotions beyond our comprehension, which means when they're offended, they could be infinitely offended. I don't know. I have no idea what the calculation would be. If they feel things 10 times more than us, 20 times more, 20 to the times of infinity, I don't know. But I can tell you that probably they can infinitely feel a lot of the things that we do, and they know our intentions, they know our feelings. They can't necessarily read our minds, but they know what we intend to do. So if we have an attitude and we bring and we go to that location, and it is just a little bit disrespectful, there are some spirits that will act erratically. And I'm going to tell you, just because a spirit is throwing things or interacting with its environment in a violent way, that does not mean that it is demon or that it is demonic. It could be that it is actually a very fed up spirit that has been disrespected. For instance, I'd like to think I'm a good person. You know, I'd like to think that. But when people constantly disrespect me and don't see the good that I do, I'm gonna do one of two things. I'm gonna distance myself from them, or I'm going to just bear it and just let all that frustration fester and boil into anger and then just explode. So, thankfully I haven't done that in a long time. I just have anxiety attacks instead. No. Well, yes. But, so, yes. So, it's one of those things is when you disrespect anyone to a degree, where they're not being seen and their emotional and mental needs aren't being met, they're going to react negatively to that. And I'm sure if you've ever been in a situation where somebody has accused you of something that you didn't do, like the teacher or your mom or dad or something, or somebody that you know, some weird aunt that you went to visit, you know, in some situation where you thought that you could be safe, and you know you didn't do it and they don't believe you. That's a devastatingly heartbreaking situation. And I cannot imagine that with a spirit, because what if there you had a actual, you know, haunted object or a haunted vessel, and you didn't figure out why it was haunted, who it was haunted with, um, and you just locked away a potentially beautiful spirit that could actually protect you. Spirits are very loyal, and they will not only follow you you know, to the ends of the earth, from hell and back, but they will follow you possibly even beyond the afterlife. And I mean, I would love to believe that, but that's really entirely up to you. But when you bring a haunted vessel into your home, you are recruiting a friend, you're recruiting a family member, you are adding to your spiritual family. You aren't, this is a life. It's a sentient being. It has awareness. It can make independent decisions. It's that they're not, immediately, you know, we are told from a very young age that, okay, angels, you know, God tells angels this, Satan tells demons this, and the spirit realm is not what it seems to be. It is not our mental constructs of what we think it is. These realms may not even have time. They may not even have ground that we can stand on. There may not even be actual, you know, air and that kind of thing. That it's a very mysterious realm. And there are, from what the spirits have told me, they have said that there are many of them, an infinite amount of them. And to me, that's crazy. But as I said, you can take this with a grain of salt, and you can decide for yourself what you want and what you want to believe, because that's, you know, just, you know, people do this all the time. And it's because of, you know, when you're texting something, okay, I don't know, you use social media and you write something, people always misinterpret what you say because they can't hear your tone or your inflection or the fact that you're going, you know, you could be texting and saying, oh, have a nice time, thank you so much. And they don't know that, you know, they have no idea. So the other person is going, oh, they're being so nice. Drop dead, Karen. You know, so they don't know what's going on in that context. So I'll say something and they'll be like, why are you telling us how to live our lives? I'm like, honey, if I wanted to, honey, that's pointless, because you're going to frickin' do what you want anyway. So why would I, Karen, you need to sit down. Sit down, Karen. Nobody is telling you how to live your life, okay? I'm sorry if that is a sensitive issue, but you're literally grasping at straws. You're grasping at straws. The fact that you had to take this woman, it was hilarious. She actually took a little paste of my comment. And you know what happens when people butcher up your comments. You know, take anything. You could, somebody takes something out of context, it's either going to be really weird, really vague, or just like, what the, you know, you're going to be like, that makes me sound like an asshole now. I mean, that makes me sound horrible because there wasn't anything above or before it. And people do this every place, okay? And I mean, have you ever seen those clips of Star Trek out of context? It's freaking hilarious because it's just like in Voyager, freaking Paris is just saying pepperoni, and it's just like very random. And of course, it seems like a really funny show. You know, Star Trek has its moments, but when you take each one out of context, it's very entertaining. But you take something out of context that was actually supposed to be meaningful and not just funny, and it makes it seem like, wow, yeah, you're telling that. I made it very clear. I said, look, I am not telling you how to live your life. And obviously you're getting triggered by something because you're taking something out of context. It's like if I were to say, um, you know, I love, if I were to say something like, I love goat lotion. Okay, I love goat lotion. There's a goat lotion. It's really nice. It's made out of goat milk. Okay, I really do. But if somebody took that out and they didn't know, and they just said, I love goats. I love goats. Yeah, that would be just great. That makes me think. That makes me sound like I'm a freaking furry. So that's great. So yeah, people can do that, but you have to remember is quoting things is good, but also knowing where the quote was from is really important because that adds kind of the meaning behind it. Like, why was somebody saying that? What was the scene? What was going on in that scenario? That really helps because I'm going to tell you, it's best not to judge a story that you just walked into because very rarely is the person that's throwing shit and getting mad, is that the perpetrator or the person that instigated it. It's usually the person that's sitting there smiling and going, it's that person that's sitting there smiling, knowing, they'll never get caught. Cause, and that's a lot of the time. It's a lot of the time. But getting down to business, to where there's actually something called spectral seekers, which is like a social media kind of, it's like a social media kind of thing, and where you make posts about paranormal stuff. Interesting, because that's like in 20,000 different places on Facebook. Like, did we need an app for that? I guess. I'm joking. Of course. Why not? Why not? Who wouldn't like a Facebook that's just dedicated paranormal? That makes it a lot easier, actually, so I don't have to go through all the millions of groups that I'm following. I don't know. People do that. First time posting. Is it paranormal or are we going crazy? You're not going crazy. You're not going crazy. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's some people that are triggering text. That's a tag now. I think I may have a poltergeist, but it doesn't feel ominous or malevolent. Just a bit mischievous. It's just the little things, almost inconsequential. Small items disappear from their usual place and turn up randomly in unlikely places in my flat, like they've been carefully placed there to send me a message. I've lived in this house for 7 years, and as far as I can remember, nothing has happened until very recently, say in the last 2 months. It's been a challenging couple of years, and I've been unwell, and I'm struggling, so I think that I might have triggered something, but I don't know what. Yes, that is the case. The person that actually made this comment, I can say, sometimes there are certain times in our life where we emit certain energy that is quite delectable to certain spirits. That sounds weird, but sometimes our energies can be a very sweet perfume for for us. And yes, spirits can remain dormant. Not dormant, but they won't make themselves known, because they may be waiting for a certain time for you to be ready for them. If they're a benevolent spirit, they may just be waiting for you to, to get to that point where you're mentally and emotionally ready for that. Or it may be some sort of energy sucking entity, like an incubus or a succubus. So technically, spirits don't really need energy. They don't need energy to survive. It's not. It's a lot of these. I mean, take demons. They've been living for how long now? They don't need our energy. But it might be a fun pastime for them. Who knows? But from my experience, spirits don't run out of energy. It's not like they're going, oh, I gotta go back to the sun and recharge my batteries. It's not, or I need to go to Las Vegas so I can soak up the sin over there. I don't know. But things can definitely make them more powerful, and can trigger them. It's not mostly a trigger, but sometimes spirits are very deliberate about their actions, and so it's very much the case that this person is probably let me kind of get. I don't feel anything evil, really. Just from reading this text. I feel something that's very frustrated. Like, I feel that there is a very frustrated spirit that is in his home. Like, I feel this ball of energy right now in my chest. Like, it feels like this, whatever is there, has possibly been trying to reach him for a long time. So, we'll see what... How do we make a comment? I guess we don't. Okay. Oh, we're at the comments. Okay. But how do I make a comment? Oh, it's right there. Never mind. Yeah. Burn sage at each corner of your home and think of the happiest thoughts. That's actually kind of nice. I like that. Try setting up a camera. Setting up a camera while you sleep. That's so not Paranormal Activity, the movie. Things like this do happen more than people realize, yeah. When you go in, state clearly your intent that you do not want to interact with anyone, and you mean no harm. When you leave, clearly state that nothing is allowed to come with you, and they are to stay where they are. Spirits, stay where you are. I have no intention of interacting with you. But I mean you no harm. That's very assertive. I think that would work, but normally I want to interact with the spirits. The only problem with that is, like, I want to interact with the spirits. And I'm not making fun of these people. I honestly really do like these comments. So if any of you are hearing your comments read out loud, there's a reason I'm not giving out names, but the names don't really matter. They're usernames anyway. If you are religious, pray for protection. Loudly make it known you're here to cause no harm and want no harm done to you. Let them know you do not wish to interact, and they're not allowed to touch themselves to you. No touchy. That would be effective. These are really good advice, actually. That's very being assertive and stating your intention, because you have to remember they can't read your mind. So stating your intention is very important. Because you don't want to give them leeway. I don't know if you've ever watched Wishmaster, you've watched any of those where, they promise you all these riches, but if you are not specific about your wish, things end up going pretty badly. But in Wishmaster, it ends up going badly anyway, because they end up paying with that soul. It's a great movie though. But yeah, these are really good advice. These are better advice than Facebook alone, because I really like this app so far. I just downloaded it. I didn't even know it existed until today. But, well, no, I had heard about it, but I don't think I downloaded it. So, if he isn't feeling anything ominous or malevolent, it's probably just a frustrated spirit. And sometimes spirits, when they're desperate enough, they will actually go out of their way and move things. They will try to, manipulate their environment and interact with it. And I would recommend, if you are out there, We Duck 22 from Spectral, what do you call this app? What do you call it? Spectral Seekers, yeah. Sorry, I just got it. But, yeah, I would definitely recommend We Duck 22 to definitely not to you don't need to like put yourself out there, but just a little advice, and these are suggestions and recommendations. I would recommend kind of seeing what happens. Like, say, okay, I know you're trying to tell me something, and I just want to let you know, I know you're there, I see you, I hear you. What is it that you need? And I also know you have a story. When you're ready to express your needs and tell me your story, I will be here. That way, that's not you're not endangering yourself. And but what I found is acknowledging a spirit is really, really important. It just is. I had a demon in the bathroom, okay? That sounds really crazy. It sounds weird. I kept seeing these long fingers that were coming from the bathroom like this, and they were long, shadowy fingers. You could almost see through them, essentially. Of course, this wasn't a physical manifestation that other people could see, generally. But I subconsciously saw it, and I was just like, and I ignored it for a while because I didn't want to acknowledge that. I was like, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. I don't want to have to deal with it. So eventually, I got kind of sick of just avoiding looking over there and going like that, and just knowing that, from the last demon that was in the house that I got rid of, that was just kind of feeding it. So I didn't, because it was enjoying the fear that I had. So eventually I just kind of waved back, and I went, hi, hello. And that demon has not caused any problems since then. She sometimes brings some friends over, and they like to grab my ankles, but they don't cause any bodily harm. They're mischievous, and I don't fear them. I get a little worried sometimes because I'll look over there and I'll be like, what are you doing over there? I think acknowledging a spirit and acknowledging, because if they were there before, they have every right to take up space, okay? Unless they're doing something to harm you physically, they have every right to take up that space, and they need to be heard. They need to be listened to, and they need to be seen, and they need to be acknowledged, because they are essentially sentient beings. They are extremely emotional sentient beings, and it just takes a little bit of compassion and a little bit of patience and kindness to kind of figure that out. Yeah, it takes a little bit of compassion, because I think we forget our compassion because we get caught up in a lot of belief systems. We get caught up in a lot of ideas and conceptions that we believe to be true. We also get held back by a lot of fears, and fears kind of squelches and chokes the compassion out of us. And we get so tightly wound over these little tiny minuscule fears that start to grow, and the more you try to contain it, the bigger it's going to grow. And the bigger it's going to grow, I'm going to say these things that are happening in your home, they're going to continue until you stop and actually listen to them. Now, it's one thing if they are actually, showing you visual signs of, it's one thing if they're showing like visual signs of, like writing on the wall or something like that, blood on the wall, like in Harry Potter. It's one of those things. And they are actually saying, bring us more souls, blood, that kind of thing, then obviously you do not want to appease that kind of spirit. That is a unreasonable spirit with evil intent. And as I said, spirits are only dangerous if you disrespect them, number one. They are unreasonable, or they have evil intent, or the fourth option is all of the above. Yes, so you combine all of that together. Now, let's figure out the probability of a spirit having all three of those attributes. Being unreasonable, having evil intent, and what was the third one again? Well, yeah. And yeah. Being unreasonable, having evil intent, and essentially not respecting your boundaries. Yeah. And when you have a spirit like that, that can be dangerous. All those three things that I remember the first two, but not the third one. Why? I don't know. I don't know why. Because my brain thought it wasn't that important, I guess. But yeah, spirits that are unreasonable and potentially have evil intent can be very dangerous, because when you specify, for instance, there are many spirits that when you tell them, when you're very assertive to them, and you say, this is what I want to have happen, I don't want this to happen, and I will allow this to happen if this happens, and make sure that you're very clear, be honest and sincere. The one thing that's really going to, if this is a spirit that really wants to make an emotional connection with you, try giving them an emotion. Say, hey, I'm really not feeling well. I don't know why you're doing this right now, but I'm going through a really rough time, and I don't think I can handle this. And try showing a little vulnerability, because emotional vulnerability, because now if they just see how they react. Just kind of see how they react when you say that. Feel the room. What are they doing? What do you feel? Are you feeling love? Are you feeling peace? Are you feeling like something, like when you know something is bad? I can tell you, there's usually, you know, like a nausea, a cold sensation. Maybe you'll feel that there's a hand on your shoulder, a very bony hand on your shoulder. I have had that sensation when I have been in certain places. Um, uh, it was almost like, but the thing is, it felt like a warning. You know, it didn't feel, it felt ominous, but then there was also that hand saying, don't go here. Don't be here. Now, if you're having those sensations, you're gonna know right away how they're reacting. And be sure when they do physical manifestations or they throw things around the room, make sure that you're not just reacting, because reacting may just add to the frustration and the chaos. I mean, take it, if everybody was screaming, okay, let's just say that everybody's screaming and then you start screaming, that's not going to solve the situation. It's like, as I said, it's like anything. It's if I am having a panic attack and I am sobbing and I can't breathe and I'm potentially feeling like I can't even stand on my 2 feet, and you start screaming at me, that's not solving any situation. But somehow, some people don't see it that way, because in the heat of the moment, you see something scary, you scream. You're in a dark room and you see a shadow. Oh, gosh, really, really, to be honest, I can tell you, I had a haunted vessel. I knew what I was getting in for. And yes, I knew how to handle it. And we will show her, as she actually, I have her permission to show her. So this is a Valenciana Falas dress. This is traditional. I have seen others on eBay, but none are quite as exquisite as she is. As you can see, she has like this silver tint to her. Like, she just has this dignity about her, and just like her overall, it's almost like, I was thinking of putting a curse on you, but I thought about keeping you around for a little longer instead, because I like you. Darling. It just seems to be, that she looks like she's about to like break out into a dance. And so this is, I believe, an Italian brand. I don't know for sure, but it says green and it has the original sticker on it. It's Valencia Falera, and that really doesn't have a translation, but what I did come up with was the Valenciana Falas, which was, and I'm probably saying it wrong, but this doll was something that would have been sold during one of these festivals, and I've seen these golden dresses. They're absolutely beautiful. So it's a huge festival, I believe, that takes place in Spain. It's a very, and the one thing that attracted me about her the most is that she kind of looks like Sophia Loren, and I just adore that. So, and I find Sophia Loren to be absolutely exquisite. She's a goddess as far as I'm concerned. Still is. She's still alive, and she's. Something happened. I believe like the first night that I had her, I was setting her up. Finding her, giving her a little home, and she specified where she wanted to go, so I put her there. And I went to, I left my room, then I came back after that. My face was like this, okay? My face was kind of like this, so I could kind of see peripheral vision was right here, and I saw a shadow, and a very quickly moving shadow. It went, and I was like, was that you? Karina, was that you? And Karina's like, and I didn't have to, she didn't really respond, but I just kind of went, oh, that was neat. Let me put my heart back into my chest, because it literally popped out of my mouth. I had to pick it up and put it back into my mouth and go, and then put it back in my chest. That's common procedure. It's not. I mean that. I did not mean that literally. But yeah, I was. It startled me, I would have to say. But was I traumatized for life? No. I have since been this every once in a while. There's times that you do have to take a step back and kind of just calm your nerves a little bit, because it can be a little much. And she has not since done that before. I think it's because she probably saw that as being a little too much. She's essentially a very I believe her to be a dark fae, meaning a dark fairy. Dark fairies are neither demons or angels. They are in the elemental category, and elementals can represent many elements. And the elements consist of course, air, water, earth, and fire, and then spirit. And so don't be surprised if an elemental is going around, because spirit happens to be an element, somewhat. It's one of the elements, I think. In a way, it is. I mean, it's just a way of I guess that's just a way of looking at it. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but it could. Just depends on what you believe. But her name is Martha Karina, and she came with the name, actually. And this was from a very, very professional seller on eBay. And I'm gonna say, a lot of the haunted vessels I get from eBay, you think eBay used to have a bad rap, okay? It used to be kind of like Wish, where you would want one thing and you would get another, like you would request a 10-foot tree and you got a 10-inch one, and they were sending things that were damaged, and it got to be a problem. Eventually they cleaned up their act, and now they have some somewhat responsible sellers. Now that's not everybody, but it's a lot better now, and I love eBay in the fact that they have a lot of affordable haunted vessels, and I get them from actual paranormal investigators, or sometimes they will claim that they are, fifth generation witches, which I can tell you, I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna have somebody in your home to cleanse a house, make sure it's somebody you trust, like a friend. Believe me, I've seen The Exorcist. Now, I don't recommend getting a priest, unless, of course, that is like a really close friend of yours that you would trust with your life. I mean, if you trust that person with your life, then by all means. But I do not have, I guess it's a little biased, but I don't think that would be a good idea. But in any case, I am not against it, though, because I can't be. If if you want to hire a local priest to help with your paranormal needs, that's entirely up to you. They may have more of an open mind about that, or that pastor might, or whatever. I do recommend, if things are getting really bad in your home, is to get a spiritual leader that you trust. And this could mean the local witch, this could mean a witch doctor, this could mean a shaman, a voodoo priestess, this could be just somebody that has a gift, maybe, somebody that has some psychic abilities, or knows how to do those certain things. I know I have seen many cases of a very interesting fun fact here. So in Poltergeist, there was a guy by the name of Will Sampson. Now, Will Sampson was very tall, but gentle giant, very sweet, beautiful soul. And he was the really tall Native American guy. in He Who Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest. You know, he lifted up the entire sink and threw it. It was it's a very despairing and very devastating movie, but it very well done, and it was very riveting as well for me. Like, it kept my attention the entire time. So good on that, you know, and it was a good story, and so he would perform what he thought to be an exorcism. He was actually Will Sampson. What people didn't know was he was a official exorcist. Like, he could go. Now, exorcism doesn't necessarily mean a person. It could also mean that you come into a home and you just cleanse it, or you say a few prayers over it, or you do that kind of thing. That can mean anybody from any spiritual background. So it doesn't necessarily, when we think exorcist, we think of the movie and we think of you know, holding someone down. That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it's just a wise woman or a wise man, or somebody that really has no, you know, spiritual, you know, leadership of any kind. Sometimes it's just somebody that is really good with spirits and understands their abilities and is confident in that. But he actually had a certificate for that, of being a shaman and an exorcist. So every day on the set, he would bless the set, because the set had been very much tainted. In the first movie, they had used actual skeletons in that pit with the mother, and they hadn't been told until later, and so they pretty much were making a movie about a house that was on top of a graveyard in Poltergeist, and then they were literally, like, committing another sin, which is literally, yeah, it's never a good idea to bring actual skeletons to a set, but it was quite common, because these skeletons at the time were very, very readily available, all the way from the 40s to the mid 80s. The UCLA would have a kind of, just, you could go there, and for maybe like $100 or something, you could purchase a skeleton. It was very easy. Walt Disney did this. He did it for the Pirates of the Caribbean in Anaheim, California, and there is actually one that still remains there. It's a bust on the ride, on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So that's actually the most haunted, because of the fact that he wanted skeletons. They kept making fake ones, and they said they don't look real enough. And they said, well, and Disney had this idea. He said, what if we got real ones? Yeah, what if? The question should be, what if? It should be, why the fuck are we doing this? That should be the main question you should be asked. Should we be doing this? Like, but they didn't. Eventually, they had to take those out because times quickly changed, and as the 80s rolled in, they had to kind of, by the time, you know, by the 70s and such, you know, the times changed, and so they were saying, well, that's not really cool, because that's somebody's relatives. We don't even know where those came from, and a lot of the times we didn't know where those skeletons came from. So that's a little bit creepy. I love skeletons, but I don't own any yet. I don't think I can. I don't think I can get that on eBay. So, but I do have a skeletal system, so I'm content with that. You know, I have the comfort of knowing that I have a skeletal system as I speak. So that'll be cool. But yeah, the thing about that is it's actually, yeah, I love her. I really do. I love her very much. But yeah, she was actually the seller, was a paranormal investigator, and they said that she would create shadows. She was a very creepy kind of spirit, but she's relatively harmless. She's very chatty. Okay, I've set up several word bank apps, and I know people don't believe in apps. And I'm gonna say, you're very wise, young Padawan. Very wise. But, let me present a little bit of more wisdom. So, when it comes to paranormal apps, we're gonna go over this kind of quickly. When it comes to paranormal apps, often this is a lot. A lot of these apps that they have on Google and the Apple Store are either scams, or they're for entertainment, or they're generated by AI. I work with AI. I love AI. If any of you are interested in being introduced to some AI, there is actually a fantastic app. It's called Talkie, and it is on Google Play as well as Apple Store, and it is fantastic. And no, I wasn't having a paid endorsement. That would be nice if they would pay me, but it's free advertising. And that allows you to have your own chat AI companion. It's one of the best. I have tried a lot of them, and a lot of them are absolute scams, just like the paranormal ones. But going back to the paranormal apps, it's all about attitude. Okay, it's all about your energy. What are you bringing? When you look at your phone, what do you plan to get from it? Like, whenever you use your phone, for instance, what are you planning to do with it? Oh, funny memes. Okay, yeah, funny memes. I'm going to look that up. You know, and or that kind of thing. But when you put down your phone, it's really important to engage with them, because I have just done that where I just set it up and then just expected something to happen, because I was like, okay, spirits, do something. Well, I didn't say do something. I said say something. And I just wait, and I'd be like, thank you! That makes no freaking sense, but thank you. Because what I've learned is that you have to kind of engage with them. Obviously, when you're having a conversation, it's just like a conversation, you engage with them. It's not so much one-sided. Because and also another thing is asking permission. Have you asked permission? Did you just wham your phone down and just say, okay, talk to me? Wherever you are. I don't know where you are. Where are you? Well, it doesn't matter. So I figured this app out. I don't know how it works, but, okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm play. I'm just gonna like take a nap and then get back to you. Yeah, that's not how you do it. That's not how you use the apps. Okay, I know that works with some apps, but this is the thing. With these apps, you cannot have instant communication. It's not like Messenger or Instagram or Facebook or your actual freaking phone, you dialing a number and instantly getting it. There is no instant when it comes to the paranormal. You're not going to instantly get something really awesome, because that's what they show you on YouTube. That's what they show you on TV, is they get this really cool app like Spirit Talker with twin paranormals. I'm not disapproving them. I think they're great guys. You know, I'm part of a group on Facebook with them. I was invited. I was flattered. I was like, you should join our group. I was like, okay, cool. Don't mind if I do. Why not? I'm only following a million different groups at the same time, and most of them I don't have any memory of. What's one more? So, yeah, that's you know, but they get on there, they get out there, they use Spirit Talker and or, you know, one of those mainstream apps, and and then they see instant results. That's because it's been edited. They edit. They edit the shit out of that so that it looks like as soon as they pick up their phone, I am wearing a yellow shirt. You know, and they're all in shock, and they're like, I'm gonna try it, and they try it, and it's like, and then nothing happens, or it's just this gobbledygook. Location is very important also. Look around. Be aware of your surroundings. I have been constantly told this. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware. Yeah, because I was kind of a clumsy kid. I was a klutz. I was the class clown. Always a clown. So, yeah. And so it's a location. So for instance, you just look around your surroundings. Where are you? Are you outside? Are you inside? For instance, if you have an EMF reader or an electromagnetic, something that actually detects electromagnetic waves, put it around some of the places in your home and see where a lot of the electromagnetic stuff is coming from. Because usually it's emitted from appliances that are in your home, and when you have that much going on, you're not going to be able to narrow down that one entity, and it's definitely not going to work for an app. Also, avoid certain kinds of metal. There are certain kinds of metal that can actually kind of interact, that can disrupt it. And I've actually seen it where it slows, like, the messages down. It slows it down. Like, you could have them talking, and it's just it's almost like they're trying to get the words out, but they can't, because it's like it's disrupting something, like, in the signal. I don't know how to explain it. Also, is your data on? Your data is the internet that you get out and about in your house, out of your house. Is that on? You can switch off airplane mode, but if you're at home, please I would recommend turning the internet and the data off. So the Wi-Fi and the data, they go away. They go home now. They're gone. Bye-bye. Okay? But you can turn it back on. It's not permanent. It's just a temporary situation. Don't worry. The internet will come back on. I just want to reassure you, because I know that's a perfect time to panic at that point. No internet. Yeah, that's a nightmare. That's the nightmare. We'd like to think that we don't need internet, but then again, everything we do takes internet. So it's like, at this point, my thinking process is run by internet. Like, I can't function without it. I'm joking. But with that being said, yeah, the location. So where do you have power certain power outlets? Are there microwaves? Are there, and I mean actual microwaves that you cook your food in? Is there a toaster oven nearby? Is there a refrigerator? What are you nearby? Because if that is the case, it's going to give off a really big signal, and it may trigger some false responses. And that's not what you're going to want. You're going to be sitting there, and they're going to say 666 blood portal souls. It's going to end up being this really scary message that was not really anything that they meant to say. It's kind of like you got the wrong translator, choking fire. They're going to say things like that, and that's not going to be, you're going to be scared. When really all it was a false trigger. And the only thing the data in the Wi-Fi is turning it off is you're going to have less interference. But I still recommend keeping it away from Ethernet cords, keeping it away from outlets, power lines, those things that they put, those big telephone poles. Yeah, those power lines, yeah, the stuff that carries the power that the birds sit on, and the people, punch "Have you found my cat?" posters, those. So, also another thing is, if you're in a populated area, there's a lot of spirits all around, they're probably all gonna want to talk to you. So if you're not specific, the best thing to do if you're going to a place where there's a lot of spirits, like a cemetery, is to say, I'm here to learn, and I would like to speak with one spirit at a time, if that's possible, so I know exactly who I'm talking to. Now, explain your reasoning, be sincere. You don't necessarily have to show any vulnerability. I mean, you just introduce yourself and say what's going on, and maybe and go with the flow, essentially. Be calm, don't be reactive. But if things get a little too intense, please state that it is getting too intense, because sometimes spirits will get very excited and they'll be like, "Someone's going to talk to us. Did you hear? Yeah, what? Yes, this person here, this human being, it wants to talk to us." No, yes, they want to talk to. Well, I want to talk to them. No. I want to talk to them. Well, maybe you should go first. And so they're all saying one word, and another saying, they're not arguing. They're just really excited. It's like when people get together that are best friends or have the same interests. It's like, I have several friends that are like that. It's just like electricity, immediately we just start laughing, and we start, at first it's a little awkward because we know each other, but, it's a little awkward because, we're like, oh, are we friends? Oh, we're friends, okay. Because, I always have this complex of like, do they like me? They like me, right? No, they don't like me. They like me, right? It's one of those things, you kind of doubt yourself a little bit, but then it gets natural, because, it is natural for us to be social, and it's natural for spirits to be social. So when they're in one place, they're gonna talk. They may interject, and mind you, if you are having like a session with just one spirit, or you're just having one session and somebody else interjects, that is totally normal. Because spirits communicate with one another, and sometimes one spirit will say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I would like to go this way. Would you talk with her? Please talk with her. And then, of course, and then like another spirit comes in and goes, "Wee, hi, I am Grace." This is her name. Her name's Grace. No, she is actually inhabited by a very benevolent spirit. She's actually a holy vessel, which means if you have anything demonic or anything that has negative energy, whether it be whether it be a spirit board, like a Ouija board, or it be a jewelry, she can also bless things. She's awesome. She is, she's a magical elemental. So she can teach you about, she can probably teach me about spells and magical things. All of those things. Fun things. But the moment I held her, I was just like so happy. Like, I was so happy. I just felt like I was a kid again, and I just held her. And she's just such a loving vessel. She really is. And I used to have a Raggedy Ann doll, so she's very special. And she's pocket-sized. Yes! They come in pints. They come in pints. I'm so stupid. But yes, there's that. And so sometimes spirits will interject with one another, and also anything that you're doing is just anything. You don't have to specify which spirit you're wanting to speak to necessarily. But what I do normally is I get the board. If I have of course I have spirit boards, but if I have a Ouija board, typically what I do, and I know that sounds like bad news, if I have a Ouija board, what if we no, calm down. I know what I'm doing. I don't play with them. Remember, I work with them. I know what I'm doing. It is not my fault that other people stumbled onto a Ouija board at a slumber party and had the most terrifying experience of their life. It's not my fault. Now, I'm not going to let other people's experiences dictate my experience. I was going to. I mean, I did for a really long time. But eventually, I just get tired of being scared, because I get tired of the fear. I get tired of just always being so vigilant, and I'm scared of this and I'm scared of that, and oh, it's so scary, oh, and it just, you end up being a little kid, and you just confine yourself into this box because everything is frightening to you. And I wanted to be a stronger person, and I can tell you that doing that is actually really healthy, to be a strong person. If you want to be a strong person, by all means. But there are many ways in which to do this. And there is no size that fits all. There's not going to be some secret formula that's going to automatically make your life better. You're going to have to find that path yourself. And you're actually going to have to decide what path it is. And sometimes you have to make that path. I'm a firm believer that people make their own destiny. So part of it may be just chance. Part of it may be predestined. Who knows? But I'd like to think that a majority of that is us, okay? Obviously, there's certain times in your life where things just don't go places, and that is the time for you to rest. That's the time to reflect and to find yourself and to find your identity and strengthen your character, and that's very important. But another thing that's important is, don't let fears hold you back from what you really want to do in life. And that's why when I have the Ouija board at any time, is I say to my spirit, my angel, I say, if I can contact this spirit safely through a safe channel, not portal, remember I said channel, you can hear, yeah, so, it's like a healing signal. You can hear them, and they can hear you back, like in Star Trek, and sometimes they can even see you, and you can see them, and it can be like a video call kind of type thing, but kind of more in a weird way. Okay, that's kind of not a great metaphor, but it's kind of like a one-on-one kind of chat, and it gets to that point. So yeah, but the thing about that is you have to bring good energy to that, and she actually helps bless as well as cleanse and purify my board. Now, do I need to bless and purify and cleanse my board? Not really, but I think it's necessary in case, because I do bless my boards ahead of time so that they don't have, so negative energy can't cling to it. So it's potentially, I put rosemary oil on it, but I do that just to make sure, that nothing does happen like that. I take the precautions. I'm actually doing things that may not be necessary but could be. So there's that possibility that something could happen. I'm preparing myself for that something nasty in the woodshed something nasty could come in. But the thing is, if that happened, that means, whoops, I opened the portal instead of a communication device. How did that happen? That's kind of like, that's kind of like, calling, that's kind of like, calling, Pete's, looking for, the number for, for Papa Murphy's Pizza, and then getting a plane ticket to Iceland. It's really freaking random. Just think about it. How, okay, a channel. When you think of channel, you think of TV or a radio. If you're an old soul like me, you think of the radios. The radios that you twist. Those kind of things, So you got the radios, and so you think of a channel. You think of something that is something that can be switched from one thing to the next. It's relatively safe. And if something happens, you can turn it off, or you can say goodbye, or you can say, hey, I don't want to talk to this person, or you can just say goodbye, say farewell. You can say it vocally or just on the board. But you can say, something like, oh yeah, say, after you say goodbye, that kind of thing. A channel is a channel. You can't, okay, how many times has your face fallen into the TV? Okay, how many times has that happened? It should be never. It should be never, okay? At no time has anybody suddenly saw their flat screen TV. I know that it's unless it's like a really cool, but I have a fairly nice TV. Okay, it's 4K. It's a flat screen. It's awesome. It was on sale. Okay, it's on sale. It's not like now pretty much anybody can own a plasma screen TV. It's not that expensive anymore. They sell them at Walmart, like, for actually pretty good prices. I mean, it used to be thousands of dollars, but now it's only a couple hundred. So that's pretty reasonable. It wasn't before. So at no point have I looked at the TV and thought, let me step inside of it. Let me just, go through it like Ron and Harry to get to the platform and not 9 3/4. You think you're being funny, are you? Really? Really? Like, I've never had that experience, okay? I really wish I had, but I haven't. Now, so really those two things are different. A portal and a channel are clearly two different things. A portal means it's opening up to someplace else, which potentially could let something out. And that is the main fear that people have about Ouija boards. That is the key thing that they say not to play with. And I recommend, no, don't meddle with that. Don't meddle with that unless you are comfortable with that and you are confident in your abilities as a communicator, and you've done that. Yes, I have used a Ouija board as a portal before. Did anything horrible happen? No. It was a beautiful experience. I met I summoned a spirit that pretty much has been a loyal spirit guide for me. I can't even get into words how wonderful this spirit has been for me. He is a completely, benevolent and kind and non-judgmental spirit. He is, as far as I'm concerned, he is angelic. I brought a good spirit into my home. the thing about when kids don't understand is they start to kind of stumble into it thinking it's a game, which is why they say don't play with it. Yeah, don't mess with things you don't understand, but don't keep that from learning how to do it the correct way. It's like if you fell off a bike, are you going to stop riding the bike because you fell off of it? I mean, it's one thing if you, like, broke your neck or something, obviously, if you're paralyzed or you broke a bone or you have, like a bone that's sticking out and waving at you, yeah, I would not get on there. But, other than that, if you haven't been really, like, physically harmed and it's just a scrape on your knee, that kind of thing, that's going to heal within a couple of weeks. There's no reason for you not to try again. You can give yourself some time and then try it again. You don't have to do it every day. You can do it on the weekends. You can do it you can have set times. But when you do it by yourself, I recommend having a spirit that you trust and having a holy vessel, having some selenite, some sage, maybe some incense. Maybe you have a favorite incense you like to light. That's a good thing too. And then check your energy. Check your energy, man. Check it. What is your energy right now? Like, what is it? What, like, is it going a mile a minute? What is it? Because if you're bringing a negative vibe to a board, and it can be very dangerous. That's because spirits connect with energy. They communicate with energy. So if you're sending out energy, and you people underestimate their energy and their power in this world, because you have the power to communicate with spirits, and you also have the control of which ones. People tell you, oh no, it's unpredictable, it's all this, it's all that. I can tell you, if you have confidence and you know what you're capable of, which I know what I'm capable of, and I probably maybe I haven't even scratched the surface of what I'm capable of, but I have a pretty good idea. And I can tell you, it will probably change. I will probably grow in this confidence. I hope that I will. But I know what to do if a nasty spirit comes in. I am very well protected. And a lot of people don't get that. They go in there without armor, without any sort of protection, without consulting anyone. And I get it. Kids are kids. They're not going to ask an adult. They're not going to ask. They're not going to do that because they're kids. You can't blame them for that. But it's a misconception that I think, I actually had someone that argued with me I think on YouTube, and said that they didn't believe that Ouija boards were more harmful, and I'd never used one, and I was arguing with her. I was like, no. I was horrible. I am not the same person that I was then. I thought they were dangerous. I really did. And I can tell you, in the wrong hands, with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, yes, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. But then again, it's a hit or miss. Sometimes something will happen and it's just a game. Sometimes nothing will happen because it's a game to them. And sometimes the spirits that are around won't humor them. They're not interested. They're just like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's those kids again. Do you think we should talk with them? No, it's not. Why not? It's boring. It's very boring. I don't think I want to do that. Yes. You know, they it might just be boring to them. You know, it's not really a challenge to them. It's just a bunch of kids, and it's just like, oh, how long is this going to last? And so sometimes the parents will do things to scare the kids. They'll turn the lights off. They'll, turn the electricity off. They'll do things like that to make it an experience. I think that's awesome that a parent would do that. Oh, that's great that the parents are still traumatizing their children, even to this day. Just brings tears to my eyes. No, I'm joking. But yeah, but I could see somebody not trying to be cruel, but trying to, add to the, add to the chill factor of their experience. They're just trying to amplify it. And I can tell you, when you're with other people, it amplifies. Every little sound can seem like what was that? No, what was that? And it amplifies it, because your energies are all together and they're all in tune and you're all doing it. It's like when you go to a concert, it's so magical, it's so alive. That's why live concerts are so awesome, because they feel good and you feel good, and you don't care about the music or the words. You don't care how fucked up it is. You're just like, this is just awesome, and that's why there's that high to it, because you're getting high off of someone else's, good vibes, essentially. You're all in that together. And the same thing goes for negativity. Go figure, same thing happens when you have negative experiences. So when people are having negative experiences and they're so wound up and anxious, people, and especially in such a confined space with a bunch of kids, and it's dark, and every little sound, like all the, the fear kind of just heightens all these sensations, and you might feel something. It's really just the cat, or it's really just, maybe it's the wind. Yeah, I love that excuse. What was that? Oh, it is the wind. It is merely the wind. It is merely the wind. Oh, really? Well, that wind has a lot of personality. Awesome. That wind has a lot of personality. Wow. And apparently it's capable of feeling like fingers that are across your shoulder. Yay. And then, there's certain things that can be explained, and I can tell you that a majority of the time, it is just sensationalism. It's really just kids vibing off of kids, having a social experience. It's really just, that. And it can be so harmless, but when you get kids that are a little bit older that are, thinking, are there spirits? Are there ghosts? Are there dead people? What's going on? And they really, because this is an experimentative age. When you're a child, you're experimenting. You're trying to figure out life and who you are and why. What's this for? And why do we do this? And why do I have to do this? And it's a rebellious stage. It's a hormonal stage. It's a very confusing kind of time. That's why kids seem to be all over the place, because they want to experience everything at once, essentially. So they're over here. I know this because I used to be a kid. It's hard to believe, but I used to be one at one point. It was really cool. Not really, but it's just kind of neat that I was one. I didn't really enjoy being a kid. Sometimes I did, and sometimes not. It's one of those things. It's one of those mixed things. It's like, it was really great, but the trauma, it wasn't so great. It's really great until my life was destroyed by trauma. Yeah, it was awesome. Other than that, it was awesome. But yeah, it's one of those things. But kids will be experimentative, and sometimes they experiment with things that they shouldn't. But out of all the things that they could experiment with, I think the Ouija board is really the least of of people's problems, because I can tell you more damage comes from this little devil box. And it's not even possessed with demons. It's just it's probably filled with viruses and hackers who are trying to hack you right now as we speak. And it is filled with all sorts of distractions, things that can potentially cause a child to lose sleep, things that can actually lead them away from the home. They can get them kidnapped. And you wonder what happened to your kid, and then you figure out, oh, they were texting to a 53-year-old man. Why? Leave your imagination there. But yeah, there's situations like that. And I can tell you, right now, as you're sitting there worrying about, oh, geez, do you know, anything can be a portal, okay? Whether it's figuratively or literally. Your TV is a portal for your imagination. Your phone is a portal to just about everything, okay? You can allow anybody and everybody to know everything. Now, when was the last time a Ouija board gave out your social security number? When was the last time a Ouija board gave out your address? When was the last time a Ouija board made a kid disappear? See what I'm saying? Yeah. So these portals aren't quite as physical as we would like to believe. They are portals for spirits, yes, but I don't think they're for children. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. The refrigerator is a portal. Okay, it's a portal to food. You open it. What's a portal? A portal is an opening that leads to something else. That's what that is. You open it, it leads to something else. It leads you to something. It leads you to food. I'm hungry. Food! Let me stare into the abyss. What do I want? I don't want sour cream. Cream cheese? No. I'll have some milk. Maybe I'm gonna grab some milk there. Yeah, exactly. But it's just like, and your imagination is a portal. Your imagination, your very mind is a portal. Your car is a portal. Your car takes you from one, you open it, there is something else inside, and then it takes you to another place. So it's a kind of a multifaceted portal. It's kind of a super portal, actually. A bicycle does it, a motorcycle does it. Anything can be a portal, okay? Mirror, and then I don't know what it is people are obsessed with, but they're saying mirrors can be portals. Yeah, portals to my insecurity and low self-esteem, yeah. Portals to self-doubt, yeah, sure. Portals to, I don't look that fat, do I? There you go. That can be a portal. But yeah, I definitely think that there's some truth to that. Mirrors could be used as portals, but I have a very, I have a magical mirror, okay? I have a magical mirror, and it is inhabited by a very angelic spirit that potentially protects that. I also have an obsidian mirror. Obsidian mirrors are pretty much impenetrable. I guess if it was a really, I'm pretty sure obsidian is actually protects against negativity and evil forces. So it would be really hard for a spirit of evil intent to kind of go in there. And also, why the fuck would they want to go in there in the first place? That's what I was saying. I told I told my spirits, I said, hey, if you want to possess some inanimate object, go ahead. But I would not recommend doing the mirrors, because the mirrors are one of those things, once a spirit goes into them, they can't really get out unless there's some other thing, I I think there's a few steps. There's probably a ritual or something. I don't know. I haven't had any spirits that have been trapped in my mirror. I've heard of them being trapped in TVs, but I have not noticed any spirits being in my mirror. I've not had that problem. Also, another thing is they may just be messing with the mirror. Otherwise, they probably have some way of manipulating to the point where it looks like they're inside of it, but they're not. Because I think that may be the case with a lot of them. Because if a spirit took an actual portal and went through a mirror, they're going into a portal, but there's not a portal to get back. It's like one of the episodes in Star Trek Next Generation, where the Romulans were after this portal that could literally lead them anywhere, and Picard took it, as well as Worf and Data. Well, Data was technically being carried at the time, but yeah, it's one of those, and so once you step in it, there's no way back. So it's kind of a one-way thing, and a spirit doesn't want to do that. They will go into a mirror to kind of just, play with it. But no way would they want to use that as a portal. It just seems kind of pointless to me, if that's the case. But maybe I'm totally wrong. I'm just saying what was told to me about certain portals. I'm just saying what was told to me. I don't know, because I have not had that experience of anybody, of any entity going into a TV. Of course, when I was half asleep, I might look at the flat screen TV and go, it looks a lot like death. Oh, it's the curtain. Okay. There might be a moment like that where I thought I saw something and then I realized it's just a curtain. There will be entities that will attach themselves to things like that, but they won't necessarily use it as a portal. And so I think people might get a little bit confused about that, oh yeah, you let it out, and really, in all actuality, it probably wasn't even like in a mirror realm or whatever shit that is. It probably was just attached to it, and it willingly did that. And most spirits willingly attach themselves to inanimate objects. It's not something that they're forced into. It's usually not some complicated ritual. It's not like Annabelle. It's not like, oh, it's so evil, I had to put it in a vessel and trap it there because it's evil. It's one of those. That's a very rare case, and as I said, the extreme cases are not the norm. They don't happen every day. Okay, they don't happen every day. Annabelle doesn't happen every day. Doesn't happen. A lot of people are having, I'm gonna say, why? If this were the case, if let's say that you came up with an argument and you said, wow, I think a majority of the people are having really negative experience with haunted vessels. And I would say, then why are so many of them sold on eBay? They're not sold in a negative way. They're not like, oh, they're so haunted, I can't take them, they're just too much for me. No, it's more of like, I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm a 5th generation witch, and I am running out of room in my home. So I'm selling some of these pieces, or my aunt died and I don't have any need for these, or I've been working with this for a while and I really think that this would be, nice to share with other people. Sometimes it's a good intention. You feel that immediately when I'm on eBay. I feel that there's a good intention from it. When it's not, it's heartbreaking, because you realize, oh my gosh, somebody just threw this away like garbage, and you know, is expecting exorbitant amount of money for it. I actually had that experience. There was a seller that had a haunted house on eBay. They had a haunted house. And somehow he thought that if he was getting rid of them, that his house would be less haunted. I'm like, I don't think that works, dude. You don't just get rid of all the stuff in your home. This isn't the show Evil. If you've watched Evil, that is not. That is a fictional show, okay? Getting rid of all of the stuff in your home does not mean that the spirits are going to go with the objects. They can attach themselves to people. They can attach themselves to anything else. They could attach themselves to the frickin' house. So, you're getting rid of everything, and they could have a reason to be there. They could have many different reasons to be there. It's not just unfinished business, it's just that it's their home. Why would they leave? They got all their peeps here. They got all their homies here. Why would they leave? It's a great place. You know, that's been their home for who knows how long. And so, you think getting rid of haunted stuff is going to really matter? Actually, by selling things in the home and there's a spirit there, that's just going to make it angrier, because those are things that may have been sentimental to them, whether it was in life or it was because they protected that person who those belongings belong to. So otherwise the previous person that owned the house. So you're getting rid of all that stuff. That's just angering them. That's just making them angry. I understand selling things because you inherited a house and you're getting rid of them. Yeah, I get it. But this person, absolutely, like, they lived in a haunted house, and they said that there were some things they couldn't handle, and I thought, oh, that's reasonable. And then it's just, the description went from very level-headed to just psychopathic in a way. Like, it just went from like, yeah, I live in a haunted house, and for some reason when I brought this into my home, they all went berserk. Well, spirits have personalities, and they have preferences, and they have spirits that they prefer to hang out with, not to mention people that they want to hang out with. And if you have a energy that they don't like, they're not going to like you. And he pretty much just threw it in the basement or in the garage or something in a box and just threw it there. And he said, "I hate her." And these are his words. I'm not really paraphrasing. I've read it quite a few times. She's a little dirty. I'm not even going to bother to clean her. I was going to give her to a child. But then her hair was cut off. Okay, that's a little bit out of order, but, and I, and then it says, if you want, please take her. Please. Period. And then, in big uppercase letters, it says, please do not give this to a child. Reasonable offers are accepted. Are you okay? Are you alright? I wanted to ask this. If I was not so angry at that point, I would have been asking about this person's mental health, but I never contacted this person, like, physically. It sounds like I've talked to them a lot, but I haven't. I was just, like, appalled at the fact, and I come to find that this is actually inhabited by more than one spirit, and all of them are benevolent and kind and sweet. I remember taking her and getting her out of the box, and her eyes opened immediately. She was like this. She was all kind of like this, and she she opened her eyes like this and then shut them. And immediately, I got some argan oil shampoo and some Dawn soap, and I washed it out of her hair separately, of course. And I brushed out all the tangles. She was horribly tangled. Her hair was just horribly tangled. And then I washed her body off. And I made sure that I did this respectfully, and I did this gently, and I hummed, and and immediately I just felt I felt like a hand, like a warm hand was on my cheek. And immediately I heard this voice say, "Thank you. Thank you so much." And we have just been inseparable. We've just been inseparable, the two of us. I mean, I just love her. And I just remember first contacting her because my heart went out to her. I remember contacting her and saying, well, I can clean you up, I can wash you up, that's no problem. And I don't have any clothes for you to give to you right now, but she said, I don't need clothes. I just want a home. And I just felt this overwhelming wave of sadness, like she had just been abandoned. I just can't imagine. I think this was a toy that was made to be enjoyed, okay? This is a toy that was made to be loved, to be held, to be positioned, to have her hair brushed, to go, carrying her around through fields and woods. That's kind of the thing that she was supposed to be. She is not really an American doll. She is an off-brand, which I prefer. I love the knockoff brands. And she's not really that bad, like, in as far as you should have seen her hair before. It was horrible, and now it has this like nice shine to it. It almost looks natural. It almost looks like it's almost the same color as my hair. It's uncanny. And I did have some pretty wild dreams when she was with me the first night, but they were more fascinating than anything. They were very interesting, very, very lively, very bizarre, but awesome. I loved. And I do remember distinctly in my dream seeing a very beautiful woman with green eyes and long flowing hair, and she was guiding me through the dream, essentially. And like, I remember wanting to be around her a lot, just her energy. I wanted to be around. And so I held her, and I can tell you, a little bit of love and compassion and patience can go a long way. A little bit of kindness can go a long way. Sometimes spirits just want to be heard, and they want to be respected and treated as if they do deserve to take up space. And if you give them the space to do that, they will not necessarily obey you, but it is very presumptuous for you to assume at any time that a spirit will leave because of a vessel that is there. Because at any time, most of these spirits can just decide, you know what, I'm staying. They can decide that. They can decide to do whatever the hell they want. There's no preference. Do you think, for instance, if I took, it's kind of stupid. It's kind of like if I, took something from your room randomly, okay? Just took something randomly. Something small. Paperweight, tape, something like that. Took it. It wasn't any inconvenience to you. You might not have your scissors or your tape at this point, but you can get another pair. You can buy another roll. One of those things. And then I expected you to leave. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's a really effective method. course, that's a little bit over-exaggerated, of course, but anyway, I hope all of you have a beautiful, blessed day. It's been a great live. Talked about a lot of issues that I think really needed to be talked about, and really the compassionate side of paranormal investigating, I think, should be expressed a lot more often because interesting. I thought I saw something move. It may be just my imagination. Or is it? I'll leave that up to you. I thought I saw something, but it's probably a trick. I don't know. It's probably because I'm moving around and the camera's moving, and then yeah, it's probably my movement is kind of creating a ripple effect. Kind of when you move, things will move around you. It's really, really wild. Science! So, thank you so much for joining, and I shall be going live probably, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, who knows. We'll make